Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 101 of Pera's Playbook. Today I'm joined by Michael Floriano, former Kingsford flivver and commit to the Ferris State Bulldogs track program, 7-time UP track champion. So how's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you on. Been getting on some other UP guys that are, committed, but they're kind of in
Yeah.
that in-between period between high school and college, and it's a good time to kind of look back on the high school career, but also, talk a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah.
Obviously exciting time in your life here, this you're not it's like the weird you're so used to the summer. Every summer it's like you're going back to
Yeah.
high school, and now like finally you're not.
I know. I literally moved down in 2 weeks, and it's just hard coming to that terms with like I'm never going back to high school again. It's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's wild, and the summer is just cruising by. Like when you say two
Yeah.
weeks it's wild.
It's flying.
So when did you really get going into track? Like how old were you when it like kind of hit for you?
So, at Kingsford we have like they do like these like inside the school, like we don't go to other schools. Like since kindergarten, you're just like running 50 yards and then you get a blue ribbon.
Yeah.
And like I was always faster than everyone, but that was just at Kingsford. And it wasn't until my freshman year where like I wasn't gonna do anything besides football. And then all the coaches was like, if you're doing football, you're doing track. And then I was like, oh, like I don't like running. What, like, why am I doing this? And then our very first track meet, it was just us and Menominee. And I'm racing against Michael Meneguzzo, Cole Millala, Brody Kopp, Chris Carollo, like, all upperclassmen to me at the time. And I'm just shaking in the blocks, like, I'm not going to do good. This is going to be so embarrassing. And then I beat all of them. And I was like, holy crap, like, this might be nice.
Yeah.
Uh, and then like I kind of like the rest of that year, like I kind of had like that chip on my shoulder, like I'm the freshman, like that's what everyone would call me, was the freshman. And then I ran into Cam Carp, and he beat me pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, he beat me by like point 0.4 seconds, and that was the first time I had lost all year. And then I was like, oh, like at
Yeah.
least he was older than me. That was my thing.
Right.
At least he was older
Right.
than me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a lot more like I feel like there's a lot of people that kind of they hate running, but when you
Yep.
start to win, then you
Then
start to love it a lot more.
yeah, it makes it a little easier to do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're like, it's kind of worth I don't want to say like pain and suffering, but I mean, that's kind of what parts of running are. I mean, like there's a
Yeah.
lot of running that really sucks, that's grueling.
Yeah.
And I mean, the training isn't fun. And I don't know, like, I mean, I always loved track. I mean,
Yeah.
but there were parts of it that sucked. I hated doing 300 hurdle practices,
Oh,
doing them over and over and over. You know what
yeah,
I
that's disgusting. Or like our coach made us do like mile striders, but just kept running us and kept running us. And I'm like, I'm a
mean? Yeah.
sprinter. I don't need to do more than a lap. But
You're right. Yeah, you're like,
yeah,
yeah, doing miles. You're like, holy crap! And then the
yeah,
distance runners, I mean,
they're
they're
used
doing
to it.
like, yeah, they're doing 5 to 10 miles or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
disgusting.
we always did this. They called it Pig Hill because it was like right near the courthouse police department, and it was
Yeah.
this like super steep hill, and we would just do one after another up Pig Hill, and it was brutal. I mean, I hated that day. Whenever they said we're going to Pig Hill, like
Yeah. Ugh.
you're not gonna have fun today.
Nope.
But I mean, all the hard work ends up paying off in the end, and it definitely did for you. I mean, like I said, 7-time UP track champion, and I mean, we could definitely talk about each year, but might as well focus in on your senior year because that's a special one. So like going in, I'm assuming obviously you had your eyes set on winning. I mean,
Yeah.
like nobody goes in thinking their senior year like, oh, I'll settle for second. Like that's okay.
No. Yeah. So the my previous years, I mean, I've qualified for UPs every year. I'm thankful for that. But I had never won the 100 and the 200 the same year. I won the 100 my junior year and then lost the 200 in my junior year. And then I won the 200 my sophomore year and lost the one my sophomore year as well. And then I've been lucky enough to been on winning relay teams. So like that helps boost up that number for like the 7-time UP champ. Because our freshman year, Marquette had beat us every time we had raced them until we got to UPs. And then of course, me and all the boys on the team were jumping up and down, we're screaming and celebrating because like no one thought that Marquette was gonna lose that 4x1 that year. Um, but yeah, this year going into it, like my nerves were high because I was like, this is my last high school track meet. Like this is it. Like this is my last high school anything is this. And oh, like my nerves were worse than any other time for any track meet. Uh and then obviously I won the 100, won the 200, which is what my goal was. Sadly, we did end up losing to Marquette in the 4x1 and 4x2. They got some great guys over there. Not much I could do about that, but
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
how it works.
anyone in the UP knows it's a challenge to go against Marquette and like track
Yep.
and swimming and cross country and like all these sports. Other sports you got a shot, like
Yeah.
basketball, football,
Football.
you got more of a shot. But their track team is so much bigger than everybody else's. They got so
Yep.
much depth.
They have so much
Like
talent around there
it's
too,
it's
and
it's brutal.
I love their men's head coach. He has I don't know if you've ever been to a
Yeah.
track event with Marquette there,
Oh
but
yeah.
he's running around and he's got that, and like I get pumped up just watching
Yeah.
him run around. Like I love his energy.
Well, and he would like pass on that energy to other schools. Like it didn't
Yeah,
matter if it was Marquette kids. I
100%.
mean, he was hyping up other kids, which I
Yep.
always thought was great. I
Yep.
mean,
That he does hate Kingsford. I I I had that. So one of our kids, David Williams, he's a couple years younger than me, but his mom got a job up at Northern, so he transferred to Marquette. And he showed up for track practice, and he asked like where the kid was from, and oh, I'm from Kingsford. Oh yeah, that's we got. I'm happy you're here, but we gotta change that answer. You're from Marquette now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hard. I was always rooting for you guys because you guys had
Yeah.
the best shot at beating Marquette, and like Marquette wins it every year. I mean,
Yep.
the girls' side's been a little bit different. That's been a lot. Marquette hasn't owned that as much, but
Yeah.
the guys'
They're long
side,
distance.
the guys you just can't.
Yep.
They'll
Like
have three guys that'll place in every
first, second,
distance
third,
event.
2 mile, 1 mile, 800
Yeah,
every time.
and then they got enough sprinters and then obviously field events where they
Yep.
they fill in the rest. And other schools, like you guys, you got obviously the best sprinter. And like, a lot of other schools might have one key piece here and one key piece here, but Marquette's got everything. And
Everything.
they got a little bit of
Yep.
everything. It's tough.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
also have over 1,000 students or whatever. So I mean,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Must be nice to have the biggest school in the most desolate area in the nation, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of easy to. Well, I mean, that's why for like other sports, I mean, you look at their schedule and half of it is downstate
oh
schools. Like
yeah.
obviously
I mean,
they play you guys in football and
yeah.
Menominee and Escanaba and whatever, but otherwise they're playing Traverse City West and Traverse
Yeah.
City
Oh,
Central and
Gaylord.
yeah, they're playing
Yeah.
big schools downstate. So I mean, well, I mean they should though.
Yeah, true, true. I mean, just imagine them going up against like poor little Ishpeming or something who only
Oh
has
my
like a
gosh.
hundred kids.
No. I do. It is kind of a bummer that they don't play Nagani anymore.
I
That's kind
know.
of a bummer.
I loved
But
that rivalry.
yeah, because I mean Nagani, even though they're a smaller school, their football is so good. Like they
Oh,
could they could whoop
I'm
on Marquette
yeah,
actually.
I'm pretty certain the last 2 years that Nagani would have beaten Marquette, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean they
Yeah.
got they had Kyla Carr the past 2 years, and I
Yeah.
love I love that kid. I've known him since freshman year from track, so
Yeah.
but he
And
he's
he's
a
another one
dog.
that's lightning fast.
Yeah.
Sprinters got to stick together.
Yes, sir.
So when did your recruiting start? I know there was an article online and it talked about how you were getting a lot of D3 interest initially, but not a lot of D2, and you were kind of like, well, what's the deal with this? So like
Yeah.
I guess when did that D3 interest start?
So it started after my freshman season. So go like at the start of my sophomore season, I hadn't had a track meet yet. I sit down in my 5th hour class, and my history teacher, Mr. Yonke, he goes, "Michael, I got a letter for you." I'm like, "Why in the world would you have a letter for me?" And so he hands me it, and it has UW Stevens Point over it, and I'm like, I never like applied there or was like never was snooping around what's going on. And then I opened it and they had like a letter that was like, hey, like we were following you at UP's, like you had great times for just being a freshman, like we'd love to get you down for a visit. And I just remember geeking out through the hallway. I was like, like anyone that like I was friends with, I was like, guys, look at what I got. Like I was on cloud nine. I reached out to the coach, went and took a visit. They have a great facilities, great coaches. If anyone's listening to this and they just want to walk on somewhere for track, I would highly recommend UW Stevens Point. They got everything that's just perfect for track. I mean, that's like one of their main sports is track. But I didn't want to go to school in Wisconsin. I mean, I had a couple of Wisconsin schools interested in me. But like St. Norbs was the one that reached out shortly after that. Concordia, Chicago. And that was all my sophomore year. Junior year, I had a small little school called Olivet downstate. They reached out to me. Hope, Calvin, just small D3s, private schools,
Yeah.
and then going into my senior year, I'm like, I haven't heard from like Tech or like any D2 schools, and I was like, I don't know if I'm just not like good enough, if like they just don't recruit the UP because one of the one of the runners at UW Stevens Point is from the UP, Jordan Shamian, and she was like, I had to reach out to get recruited here because they just don't look at the UP. And I was like, well, that sucks. So I just started writing emails, never got anything back from Michigan Tech. I got something back from Grand Valley, and basically they said like, yeah, you're too slow. You could walk on if you wanted to. But I was like, screw you. Like that's such a like
Yeah.
horrible response if you want someone to walk on. And
Right.
then I got, and like it seemed like it was like an automated email back. Like it didn't seem like it was like
Yeah.
actually addressed to me. And then I got something back from Coach Jackson at Ferris State, and it was like, hey, like we'd be interested in like having a visit. And like in my email, I was like, I know I'm from the UP. I only get 9 track meets a year to run. Like I'm not gonna compare to some of the guys you recruit downstate, but I can get to that level with your guys' training. I started working out at Advantage to try and do something in the winter because it's not like we have track facilities in the Iron Mountain
No.
Kingsford area or specialized lifting. And so he was like, "Yeah, we'll get you down for a visit. You know, keep training. Like we love to hear that." Went down for a visit, and I loved it. It was a gorgeous campus, like, and I hung out with like the teammates there. Like they had like their own hangout night, and then we went bowling, and like it was very fun, very welcomed. Loved the campus. I fell in love pretty quickly with the area. So, and then after that, I was like, I don't like. I had a couple more like call it like I hadn't attended Hope yet for a visit or anything, and I was just like, I don't think I need to. Like, I just after going there, I was like, I just want to go to Ferris.
Yeah. Well, it kind of helps too when like you reach out somewhere and they seem interested like right away
Yeah,
instead of that like you said that kind of passive Grand Valley like yeah
yeah, like
like maybe you
yeah,
could walk on but like you're too slow. It's like okay, well like thank you
yeah,
for the
yeah. At least I heard something back though. You
right.
know,
Yeah, I
I do
mean,
appreciate that.
yeah, it's like that with a lot of things. You apply for a job or like you reach out to schools. It's like even if you're not gonna pick me, just at least give me
Give me
that
the
courtesy
courtesy.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah. but
Let
a
me
lot
know
of
that you're not
places,
going to. Yeah.
a lot of places don't. It's hard to come out of the UP in any sport. I mean, especially
Yes.
track though, with like you said, how many meets we get. And I remember at Holton there was a kid named Eric Weiss, and he was a pretty good distance runner, and he runs at North Dakota now.
Oh,
And
wow.
like he reached out to them, and I think they gave him like a slightly lower time than what they usually want because he was in the UP. They were like, "Well, we know you're probably not going to hit our regular qualifying time, but if you can hit this time, we'll get you here and we'll get you up to speed because we know your season starts later." And he's there
Yeah.
now, and I mean he's having some good success, and I mean he's running at
Nice.
North Dakota. So, but I mean it's
Yeah.
hard, and it's cool that they kind of understood that
Yeah.
because I
I was very appreciative of that because I was like, I have a couple friends. I used to live downstate. Like I moved up here to start kindergarten. Like I've been raised in the UP.
right,
But like I still like keep in contact with some of my like preschool friends. Just like through Facebook, and my mom has their moms on Facebook, and a couple of them are in track, and like just scrolling through my mom's Facebook feed with her because she had to show me pictures for something one night. And like we still had about a foot of snow on the ground, and downstate they were 4 weeks into their track season already. It's just
yeah,
like I literally can't compete, and
no,
like
you can't,
that's why I'm happy like we have our own separate like UP finals because like I like to think that I'm pretty fast, but I know I'd go downstate with the size of Kingsford, and I'd get destroyed with how little running I get to do in the year.
yeah. If you if UP athletes had the same like season length, they
Yep.
definitely would be able to compete more, but you just can't. And it's also like, okay, maybe the season starts at the same time, but I remember being in Houghton. I remember us running in the hallways because we couldn't be outside. And like,
Yep.
there's something you can't pick up the same speed because you're now you got to round a corner, a sharp corner in a
Yep.
hallway. Like,
Don't want
yeah,
to run into the
you're
locker.
training,
Yep.
but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So it's definitely hard. But guys like Branch at Advantage are definitely
Yes.
like pushing UP athletes to the forefront. He's got a lot of connections too. So like
Yeah, he
people who
does.
are training with him, it really helps and it shows a lot. So he's like kind of like the one positive for UP kids right now to get
Yeah.
a look.
Yeah, I mean when I was up there for the All-Star game, like he was like, "Hey, if you guys want to go on to the next level for football, like I got some connections to some D3s, to some D2s, just, give me like you guys are all-stars here, like give me your contact information, I'll find somewhere for you." And there was a
Yeah.
couple kids that decided to do that. I decided early on like, yeah, I don't want to do football in college, but I was like I was very impressed with how that was handled up there. Just like, hey, like if you guys aren't getting looks, we'll get you some looks. I really like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. So I was also in that article. It was talking about you, like kind of how you trained for staying low, coming out of the blocks,
Yeah.
and
Oh
knocking your
yeah.
head a few times. So you talk
Uh-huh.
about that.
So yeah, what I would do if I was outside, I'd grab the hurdles and like I'd adjust the heights and like because my freshman year, my block starts were atrocious, just terrible. I'd pop right up, and like you're not supposed to get your chest up until like 20
Yeah,
meters out, and I'd pop right up and be running. And so to stay low, I'd try and just like come out slowly underneath hurdles, or come wintertime, they for like all of the people that were learning lifting at our field house, they had just these PVC pipes, and like I'd balance them over something or try and hang them up, and I'd come out of the blocks and I'd try and stay low. And there was a couple times like I boinked my head right off the pole because I kept wanting to pop up so quickly. But like it's helped me stay low so far. So
yeah. Hey, that's creative. I mean,
yeah.
that's a good way to like. Well, it also shows you're devoted, like that you were gonna
Hmm.
like try to find a way, whatever it took for you. You can go through that pain of whacking your head a few times, but it's
Yeah.
also like you don't want to whack your head, so you're gonna stay low. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
you do what it takes, but I mean, obviously it helps. It's hard. I mean, like blocks are for people who don't run track, they probably think like, oh, it can't be that hard to come out, but it's hard because, like you
It's
said, your
hard.
instinct is just to pop right up.
Yep.
I always suck
100%.
at it. It's yeah, I mean, unless you have a kind of technique like yours that forces you to stay low,
Yeah.
natural instinct is like I'm up now.
Yeah, and so for our track practices, like when like those are times where like it was just me and I needed something.
Yeah.
What some of our coaches would do, they'd stand in front of you for the block starts and just they grab your shoulders and you drive it like they backpedal and they're just holding you down to like to the point where you almost face plant coming out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And there was one time I did face plant, but that's another thing too that was just like that was the hardest part was staying down for me, not shooting right up out of the blocks.
Because you lose so much when you
Oh,
pop right up.
you lose a lot of speed quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some good techniques if somebody out there is struggling with blocks.
Yeah, true.
Something to try.
Yeah.
So being a track guy, Olympics going on right now, and track's obviously huge. Like,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite track athlete?
Everyone's a Noah Lyles fan, pretty much. If you follow track, if you've ran track,
Yeah.
everyone's a Noah Lyles fan. I'm a huge fan of Matthew Bowling. I've watched like some of his high school races, like in high school where he ran a 9 something in the 100-meter dash. He went to Georgia. Uh, follow him on Insta. Like I love that guy. Um, let's see, Christian Coleman. I like Christian Coleman. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just always just looks like he's so serious and dialed in. And I don't think I've seen that guy smile once, but it's very funny.
Yeah. It's fun to or it's good to be a USA track fan.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of good runners to watch.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
And then so I going rogue here, but there's this one guy from Germany that goes to Texas. Leo Nerd, like I can't. It's a very ethnic German last
yeah.
name, but he's a decathlon athlete, and I've been following him for a while, and he's just a dog. Like
Yeah.
he can do everything really really good. So those are probably my top four.
Yeah, and right now, like the Olympics, I mean, it's the best track
It's the
you're gonna ever
perfect
watch. I
time.
mean,
Yeah.
when you watch those people, it's so perfect. Like when Noah Lyles won gold, that
Yeah.
100 was so tight.
Uh-huh.
Unless you look at that freeze frame, you're kind of like, well, who took it? Like those
Yeah,
front
you
four
have
guys
no
were like in a
clue.
row.
Yep.
That guy who got fourth, I mean, he barely missed out on bronze. I mean, like
I
it was
know.
so
It was
close. And
literally a sliver.
yeah, it's a hair, the lean. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. And Noah Lyles is a good leaner, and he out leaned the other guys. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep.
people think it's all about that speed, but there's some other technique that goes into it in
There
the end
is.
of the
Yeah.
race that's gotta put you into that gold medal or that first
Yeah.
or whatever you're running. So moving away from track, that article also you're talking about being a history nerd.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Uh
like all kinds of history, or like there's certain like eras that you like find more
uh
interesting, or
I've always loved ancient history and US history. Those are like
yeah.
my two like Romans,
Oh
ancient
yeah.
Egyptians, Greece, like that stuff, and then US history. Uh ever since like we had a Michigan history class in like 4th grade, and
Yeah.
that was my first history class. And that was like holy crap, like I read this and like I'm remembering it like without trying, like I don't have to do flashcards or anything.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like if I'm bored on YouTube, it's a history video that I'm watching,
Yeah.
something entertaining that. And like my friends are like we'll be somewhere and I'll be like, oh, that happened in 18 something, and they just all stare at me like, why do you know that specific date? And they get a little annoyed with it, but I like it. So
Yeah. No, I don't know. I never got people who like don't like history. Like, I mean, like there's some of these people like the movies you watch, all right? Most of them, a lot of them are fiction, and you think that story is great. But if you go in history, I bet we can find a better one
oh,
that actually
100%.
happened.
A
That actually
hundred percent.
happened.
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I mean?
yep. 100%.
There's this podcast out there. I it's like I think it's called like This Day in History or something like that. And
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
every day it's like this short 15 minutes and the guy kind of narrates something that happened that day. I love listening to that podcast because
Yeah.
you get all kinds of crazy stuff, bank heists and train robberies, and then
Uh-huh.
it'll be like something in World War II, and then the I don't know, the French Revolution, or like it goes all over the board. You can learn
Yeah.
so much in like a short
hmm
15 minutes, and the guy does a really good job narrating it or whatever.
Yeah, we had so the history teacher that I mentioned earlier, Mr. Yonke, like he's not your average history teacher. Like he loves history and will like if you say like a random fact about something, he will totally skip over the lesson and talk for 30 minutes about that random fact or something that he enjoys. And he had like a wall that was today in history, and every morning
Yeah,
he'd come in early with his chalk and he'd write all the stuff like today in history, and we'd spend part of class talking about it. And from going from like middle school history where like the teachers are just like talking about it for 15 minutes to having a teacher that loves history and wants to over explain everything. That's like when my history like it was like going up a little bit, and then I got in his class, it skyrocketed. Like he made it super easy to like understand history for people that didn't even like history. But
yeah,
I like that was like the one class like I wouldn't even take my phone to class because like I didn't want to miss anything.
right, exactly. Well, that's good. I mean, like that he was like passionate about it, and obviously being a
Yeah,
history fan, it helps. But yeah, like that's
100%.
kind of cool. So why don't we end on music? What kind of
Oh yeah.
music do you like?
Uh it depends on my mood.
Yeah,
If I'm lifting or if I'm at like before a football game, before a track meet, before a race, I got my headphones on, and normally it's Eminem, but anything fast or like really like loud and upbeat, 21 Savage, just like rap mostly for like anything athletic. And when I'm relaxing, just I can listen to pretty much anything. Like I have like on my playlist, I have a playlist called Songs I Like. It's 30 hours long. Um and it just has every song I've ever heard that I liked. So like you we have let's see. Let me pull it up and just pull some random songs off there
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
Whip some randoms out. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. We got some Eminem Till I Collapse. It's the first one. And then right after that is Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. I got some bands from the 60s on here.
Some
Uh
60s. There
yeah.
we go.
The Monkeys, if anyone knows the
Oh
Monkeys.
yeah, the
Yeah.
monkeys.
Let's see. Billy Joel, Maroon 5, The Weeknd, Marty Robbins for any old time country
Oh
fans.
yes, I love Marty Robbins.
Uh
What is it? What Marty
Uh,
Robbins
I
song?
have I have Big Iron, El
Oh
Paso
yeah.
City, like just the El
That's,
Paso trilogy there.
yeah, exactly. That's good stuff.
Yeah, Beach Boys, uh, Travis Scott, Roger Miller, Elton John, just random
Yeah.
stuff all trickled in there.
That's the way to do music. That's how my
Yeah.
playlist. Like you go on there and be like yeah, something like Young Gravy, and then next one is
Yeah.
like Marty Robbins or something. Like
Uh-huh.
people are like, what? Weird.
Yeah.
It's but I don't know. That's the way. I think it's boring to only like one kind of music.
A
Like
100%. I
people who
like
only listen to country or only listen to rap and they won't listen to anything else. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I couldn't do that. I like listening to Eminem and then transitioning into Snoop Dogg or let's
Yeah.
see, Eminem, let's see, Eminem into Dua Lipa. That's what I got on here. Uh or then to Post Malone and then Third Eye Blind and
Yeah,
just
exactly.
jumping around. I love it.
Last summer I saw Five Finger Death Punch and I
Oh,
Prevail in concert, and then was it a week ago I saw Barry Manilow. For anyone who knows who Barry
dang.
Manilow is, so like
I
that's where
love
my
Barry
music
Manilow.
is at.
Yeah,
Is
at
like
the
I'll
Copa.
Oh, exactly. Oh, it was so good live. If he's 81 years
Really?
old too, and like you
Oh,
would have never guessed. He was
that's
dancing around
crazy.
and his voice was pretty good for 81 years old.
That's
And
actually wild.
yeah, the Copo, it was that arena. It was at the Resch Center in Green Bay, sold out,
Oh, yeah.
and it was wild. Everyone was singing along. Like
That sounds fun, bro.
it was actually. I feel like most people would be like, "You went to a Barry Manilow concert? Like
Yeah.
what?"
Yeah.
Like
All
actually,
my friends would be hazing me because of it, but
yeah,
I'd be like, I
yeah.
like the music.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Actually, like the guy sitting next to us, he was going to see Five Finger Death Punch and Metallica a few weeks later. So it was like that. I mean, like
Wow.
people who just like
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way
That,
to do it. You know,
that's
the
how,
haters are gonna hate.
true. True. Yeah. No, that's the way my music taste has been since I've been like able to listen to music. That's how
Yeah,
that's how my dad is because he likes mostly country, but then like I started listening to Eminem and he started rapping a song that like I just heard and I was like, holy crap, my 40-year-old dad is like rapping Eminem. I've only ever heard
yeah,
this guy sing country, but
yeah. That's awesome. That's cool. So you like a huge music? You like really like music? Like in the
yeah.
car, you gotta have music.
Oh, I have to
Weightlifting,
have music.
gotta have
Yep,
music.
gotta have music. If nothing, if I'm doing absolutely nothing or I'm doing a really mundane task that like I don't have to think about anything, there's music playing.
Yeah. I don't get the people that can be in a car in dead silence, like no
Yeah,
music, no
I don't get
podcast,
it.
no
I
nothing. I
don't
don't know
get it.
how I'd be like depressed every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I'd probably get distracted driving like if I couldn't be singing along to something because I'd be
Right, yeah.
so bored.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about music. If you're
Yeah.
angry, you can like let out your emotions by listening to
Yeah.
music. If you're sad, you find something that'll perk you up. If you're happy,
Yep.
you can just like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get the music haters.
I don't either. I've been lucky enough to meet very few music haters, but there's been a couple that turn that off. I don't want to listen to that in the locker room. What?
Yeah,
Like,
you got to be open to trying something
yeah,
new too. Like
yeah,
you're not always gonna love it on the first time. Like there were a few times like friends will play a song and I'll be like, that's okay. And then maybe a week later I'll go back and listen to it again and I'm like, okay, and that's actually not bad. It
yeah. This is
turns out
good.
like being one of my favorite songs eventually.
Yep.
Like
Oh, I've had that happen a couple times in the locker room. Just like they're playing like this really like fast. I can't even remember who it was by, but it was like really fast rap, and it's like you can't even like hear what this guy's saying. He's just mumbling like. And then a week later they played it, and I was jumping around with them in the locker room. That's just how it goes.
yeah. No, that's the way to do it. Well, I'm glad we
Yeah,
agree on that.
yeah,
All right. Well, awesome. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Had a good
yeah. Thank you for
time.
having me.
Yeah, good luck at Ferris.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.